In October of 2025, an 80-year-old woman named Natalie crossed the finish line at Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. She became the oldest woman in history to complete that race. The previous record holder, 78 years old, was standing at the finish line to cheer her in. I love that story. Not because it's about records, because it's about a woman who didn't stop, who didn't decide that the chapter was over. But here's what I want to talk about today. Because for most of us, the struggle isn't finishing, it's starting again and again and again. If you've ever felt stuck in that loop, good intentions, strong start, life happens, back to zero, I want to show you what's actually going on. And more importantly, I want to show you the one thing that finally broke the cycle for me. It wasn't discipline, it wasn't motivation, it wasn't something I didn't see coming. Here's what I used to think the problem was. I thought I wasn't disciplined enough. I thought I needed more motivation. I thought if I could just find the right plan, the right routine, the right version of myself, I'd finally stop restarting. But that's not what was happening. And I don't think it's what's happening for most women who feel stuck in this cycle. The real reason the restart cycle keeps repeating is this: we keep trying to return to something instead of building toward something. We're not chasing a new goal, we're chasing an old feeling. The body we had, the fitness level we had, the version of ourselves we remember being. And every time we start, we're measuring ourselves against that and coming up short and eventually giving up because the gap feels too big. The problem isn't your discipline, the problem is the target. In a minute, I'm going to tell you about the email that broke my restart cycle for good, and it came from a completely unexpected direction. Let me tell you what my restart cycle looked like, because I lived it for years and I think it will sound familiar. In my early 40s, I was fit, really fit. I ran a sub 4 hour marathon. I trained hard and I loved it. And I had a level of fitness that felt like mine, like something I'd built and owned. And then life changed. My 50s looked nothing like my 40s. I was on my own in nursing school, working, stretched thin in every direction. The training fell away, the fitness faded. And when I finally tried to come back to it in my later 50s, I kept chasing that sub 4 hour marathon. That was the feeling I remembered. That was the target I kept trying to return to. But I couldn't motivate myself to train at the levels that goal required. My body wasn't there. My schedule wasn't there. And every time I tried, I'd measure my current self against that 42-year-old woman who ran that race, and it was discouraging. So I'd stop, and then I'd start again, and I'd stop again. I wasn't failing because I was undisciplined. I was failing because I was trying to go back through a door that had closed. The goal was wrong, not because it was too ambitious, but because it was pointed in the wrong direction, backward instead of forward. And then in August 2020, I got an email. It was from the Ironman Corporation. They were announcing the return of Ironman Coeur d'Alene, June 2021. And something happened when I read it that I didn't expect at all. I signed up, not because I was ready, not because I had a plan, not because I'd been training for it. I signed up because something inside me recognized this is a new door, not the old door I'd been trying to force open, a completely different door. And everything changed. Suddenly, I wasn't training to recover what I'd lost. I was training toward something I'd never done. The comparison to my 42-year-old self became irrelevant. She had never done an Ironman either. We were starting from the same place. The restart cycle broke, not because I got more disciplined and not because I found more motivation, because the goal finally pointed forward instead of backward. If you're in that restart cycle right now, the 3-day expansion quick start in the description is exactly the kind of new door I'm talking about. It's free, it's 3 days, 10 minutes a day, and it's designed to give you a forward facing win, not a return to something old. Grab it and let's keep going. I want to explain why this works because I don't think it's obvious and I don't want you to miss it. When you're trying to return to a previous version of yourself, every workout is a measurement. You're constantly asking, am I back yet? Am I close? Am I as good as I was? And the answer, especially early on, is always no, which means every workout contains a small discouragement. And discouragement compounds. But when you're training towards something new, something you've never done, there's no previous benchmark to fall short of. Every workout is just progress. Every mile is just evidence that you're becoming someone new. That identity piece is everything. You're not recovering an old identity, you're building a new one. And new identities don't carry the weight of comparison, they're just who you're becoming. I want to be clear. I'm not as fast as I was at 42. I may never be, but I'm extraordinarily fit for my age, or honestly, for any age. I'm doing things now that I never did in my 40s. And the woman who ran that sub 4 marathon couldn't have done what I did at the 70.3 World Championships last year. They're not the same goal. They're not the same woman. And that's not a loss, that's expansion. So, how do you find your new door? Because I know it's not always an email from Ironman that drops into your inbox at the right moment. Here's what I'd ask you. What's something you've never done that makes you just a little nervous? Not the goal you used to have, not the body you used to have, something new, something that belongs to the next chapter, not the last one. It doesn't have to be an Ironman. It could be a 5K you've never run, a hiking trail you've never finished, a strength goal you've never chased, a class you've been too intimidated to try. Anything that points forward. Put a date on it, sign up before you're ready because readiness is overrated and forward momentum is everything. The restart cycle ends when you stop trying to go back and start deciding to go somewhere new instead. I think about Natalie Graybo crossing that finish line at 80, and I think about the previous record holder standing there cheering her on, someone who had held that record, who had every reason to feel like her chapter was over, choosing instead to be present for someone else's expansion. That's what refusing to shrink looks like. Not just the race, the whole posture toward what's possible. You are not too old. You're not too far behind. You are not too out of shape. The goal you had at 42 or 35 or 28 doesn't have to be the goal that defines you now. There are doors ahead of you that you haven't even seen yet. Ordinary days build extraordinary lives, not by going back, by going forward. One ordinary, intentional, forward facing day at a time. If you're ready to find your new door, the free 3-day expansion quick start is in the description. Day 1, make one promise to your body and keep it. Day 2, claim an aspirational identity and prove it with one action. Day 3, take one visible step toward your future. 3 days, 10 minutes a day, that's your new door. And comment expand below and tell me, what's the old goal you've been trying to go back to? And what might your new door look like? I read every comment. Let's figure it out together. And I'll see you in the next video.